Hi, my name is MacRory and I'm a life and business coach. This is a short webinar designed for people who want to make change. It could be change to your lifestyle, change to your career, starting up your own business, a project such as writing a book, or for HR professionals, tips and advice about maybe retaining and motivating their workforce. So sit tight and we'll begin. Hi. So we'll start this webinar about transforming your personal and your business life. I've mentioned it's for busy working women and men to enable more joy and more success in your lives, and also the same applies to workforces and to HR departments. So I've mentioned who can benefit. Again, I'm just going through some of the, the nub of what the webinar is about here. It's about using tips, tools and techniques from coaching, from NLP, which is neuro-linguistic programming, quantum thinking technology, which is QTT, and essentially shifting negative self-beliefs, coming up with plans, making the changes you need and achieving the goals. As I've mentioned, HR departments can also benefit from some of these techniques to retain and motivate staff, because we all have worked in places where the staff is disillusioned and there's high turnover rates. So this is a very practical webinar. You get clarity on yourself and on a proven process to go about achieving any of these things. It could be any of the scenarios I've mentioned, and these are the available resources I had for myself and are also available to you. Private clients may have simple areas that need addressing, or it may be a longer term process depending upon the goal or objective. In all cases, self-limiting beliefs need to be shifted first before you can make progress. And corporate clients, you want to have a happier, more motivated workforce, so it doesn't make sense not to pay some attention to some of the things I'm saying. So your life goals are important. Starting up your own business may be one of your dreams, or it may just be a total rethink on your lifestyle and work balance. So all of these changes are underpinning one big question. If you want to achieve anything in life, you have to have the necessary shifts made and you have to take the necessary right steps. And why would you put yourself through all of this hassle? You'll only put yourself through this hassle if the end result is going to be worth it. So imagining the end result is very, very critical to the whole process. If you have clarity on what you really want, you can be more light-hearted, more energized and more successful along your journey. You'll also be able to reduce and manage the worry, stress and overwhelm that currently you may be experiencing and that may be holding you back in the future. Being financially independent and having personal freedom is priceless. Again, these are some of the things you might be putting off doing or not enjoying because of the stresses of your current life or work situation. Holidays, you may enjoy them, but if you're anything like the way I was working and you have hundreds of emails and things to do before you go and get deluged when you come back, maybe it's time to have a good look and a good think. You need to enjoy life. You need to be energized and successful. You need to get up in the morning looking forward to the day ahead, not dreading it. So I've basically, honed this down to 5 steps. These are 5 steps I've used and they have worked for me. They've also worked for other people. So it's worth just having a look at this process and then applying this process to the 5 scenarios. Now, I'm not going to dwell on this. This is my story. You can go on my website, www.marymacrory.com, if you want to find out more. But this isn't about me. This is about how I can help you. So this is just to show you my credentials. In a nutshell, I got a science degree in Durham University. I then came to Ireland where I trained as an accountant 38 years later in finance, and I basically was fed up. I was stuck. I qualified in NLP and in QTT and as a life coach, having first of all gone on a self-discovery path by doing a Wealthy Minds personal development course under MacRory in Limerick. So quite a, I suppose, a battery of experience, both life and business. But I did actually retrain then because I decided not only was I fed up with the lifestyle, but I also, I suppose, was fed up with my career. So 5 key steps are self-knowledge, getting clarity on what you want, and this may and most often does involve shifting any negative self-beliefs. And thirdly, you won't get anywhere unless you have a practical and strategic plan. You need to maintain a positive mindset to enable you to stick to that plan and to enable you to have faith when you wobble, because you will. It will be challenging. And you never forget why you're doing it. And in all of these areas, coaching is important, I believe, and can help you to have a less painful journey to where you want to be. And I've repeated those 5 steps, and just to mention the sweet spot, which probably most of you are aware of, you're very lucky if you're working in an area that you love and are passionate about. If you're doing something that you're good at, you enjoy, it doesn't seem like such hard work, and if you're getting paid for it, that's brilliant. So if you can identify your sweet spot, that might be a big indication of where you should be applying all your talents, your creativity in your work. So it's worth having a good think about what you really enjoy doing. So I'm going to apply that process that I've just mentioned to these 5 scenarios, which are quite common scenarios that people want to work on in their lives. It could be changing your lifestyle, so discover your sweet spot. It could be changing your career, setting up your business, writing a book, as an example of a challenging project that you may wish to do. For HR managers, it could be energizing your workforce to be more happier and therefore more productive. The first scenario, your lifestyle. Just some grim facts first of all. People in nursing homes have regrets as they are dying on their deathbeds. There have been many surveys done, and overwhelmingly the evidence is that they don't have regrets about what they have done, some silly incident that happened that maybe you'd be embarrassed about. They regretted what they hadn't done. They maybe had worked too hard, that was a common one, and hadn't spent enough time with family and friends. Another common one was they hadn't followed their own dreams and passions. They stayed stuck doing what other people thought they should be doing, or what they thought other people thought they should be doing. So you've only got one life. Don't wait until you're on your deathbed to regret chasing your own dreams and passion and spending more time with family and loved ones instead of just working yourself to death. I did a survey on LinkedIn and Facebook in late 2016, and 63 people participated in that survey. 37% said that they were either slightly or completely dissatisfied with their work-life balance. That's quite a high figure, but even more disturbingly, 14% responded that they did not relax outside of work. Now, that is a startling statistic on its own, but also, if you don't relax, you will, well, first of all, you won't be happy, but secondly, there are long-term physical and mental results for you never relaxing. And actually, I'll deal with stress later on in this webinar, but you really need to have a look immediately if you're in that category. So, if you're thinking about why you want to change your lifestyle, I've just touched on that in the introduction, but would it not be lovely to be happy and energized and enjoying simple pleasures in life that sometimes you don't enjoy because you're still stressed from maybe the work or maybe other problems in your life? So wouldn't it be lovely just to enjoy your life again? When you were kids, you used to enjoy your life. So I think we've lost the ability to sometimes live in the moment and also to enjoy the free things in life. Or you can stay in a rut. You can be on a treadmill. Everything is just about working. It's about not enjoying yourself. It's not a good way to live your life. It's not a clever way to live your life either. You have one life. You should enjoy it. Now, I'm not preaching at you because I was that soldier. I was stuck. I wasn't enjoying my life. Sick of the lifestyle of long hours in corporate. And I wanted to travel and I wanted to write. So I did travel, but you can't go to the likes of Cuba or take a 4-week break to go to Australia and New Zealand if you're in a high level position and you're constantly being made demands upon your time. So I've been to all of those places and I enjoyed them all immensely. I've also submitted my book to my publishers. So that was something I always enjoyed doing as a schoolgirl and even as a student, writing. But that had stopped apart from, I suppose, management reports, variance analysis, all those good things. But gardening, that's another thing. I did a botany degree. So I am now actually living a much more fulfilled life than previously. And you too can do that. So, process, self-knowledge. What did I do? I basically did a personal development course. I stepped away from the corporate world. I wanted a chance to step back and to reassess what I wanted to do, what I wanted in my life, because I wasn't happy whatsoever with my life. I did use the services of a coach to shift some negative self-beliefs, mainly that I couldn't do it. I had to keep working as an accountant because I would have felt guilty, because I'd always worked extremely hard all my life. So how can I step away and go travelling and do all these other things that seemed a little bit frivolous, like writing a book? But no, they're not frivolous. There's something that meant an awful lot to me and that I am now doing. You too can do that. That didn't happen overnight. I had to have a practical and strategic plan, and that plan included, when I had finished the Wealthy Minds personal development course, it included retraining, doing the NLP, which is the Neuro-Linguistic Programming, doing the quantum thinking training, the QTT, and I embarked upon a life coaching diploma. So I also have done several more courses since that, but if I didn't have that plan, I don't think I would be as confident as to launch a new career. So you also need to have a necessary leap of faith. Again, a coach can maybe be an objective sounding board when you get stuck. They can enable you to see the problems in perspective, and there are lots and lots of tips, tools and techniques from life coaching, NLP and QTT that can be used beneficially to that end. And never ever forget why you're doing it. And I never ever forget why. Every single morning I wake up and I think of why I'm doing what I'm doing. I do a little bit of Reiki, I do some meditation, and I keep a gratitude journal. And you know what? I've never been happier. Second scenario, it could be linked to lifestyle. It doesn't necessarily have to be, but you may want to change your career. You spend the majority of your life working. So if you're working at something you hate, that is a very, very illogical thing to be doing. Now, not everybody is in a career that they hate, and some people can get by. It's not maybe inspiring career, but it's good enough. But if it's not good enough and you hate it, you really need to start thinking about what else you could do and get paid for. In my survey, 7% were in their current job purely for financial reasons, and 6% wanted to change career. Now, not everybody wants to change career, or not everybody should change career, but if you do want to change career, why don't you sit down and take the time and really analyse what you would like to do? Because if you don't know from the start, if you don't get to your starting point, you'll never get to the end of your journey. And if you do actually come to the realisation that you want to change your career, you've just taken the first step on that process to actually achieve that change. A lot of people are fine with their work. 37% were very engaged with their work. 26% were reasonably engaged. Those people don't have to do this. But for those of you that hate your job, it could be maybe just your job you want to change, or it could be your career. Only you will know that, and you'll only know that after a lot of deep soul searching. So, if you've decided you want to change career, imagine what your life would be. You may have to devise that, going along that plan, you may have to upgrade your educational skills, as I did. But it's worth it if you're going to be doing something that you want to be working in every day of your life. And you'll notice that the most successful people are the people who really don't struggle in their work. they enjoy it and it shows, and that's why they're successful. It's not such a struggle on a daily basis. Changing career is going to push you out of your comfort zone, but it would also bring with it the growth, the fulfillment, and a happier lifestyle. And if you're happy, you can guarantee your work colleagues and your family and friends will be happier also. Or you can stay stuck doing something you hate, and it won't bring you any joy or contentment, and you'll be continually stressed if you really hate your job. Now, not everybody, this doesn't apply to everybody, so if it doesn't apply to you, I'm not beating the drum to say everybody has to change career. No, it may not apply to you. But if you do hate your job and you're continually stressed, I've just listed there some of the medium-term symptoms of stress in the third paragraph, and if those are consistently neglected, you'll get the longer-term symptoms, which it could result in death by heart disease, strokes, cancers and angina. So not only will you not be happy, but your job could impact on your mental and emotional well-being and could be fatal. So just think about that if you're continually stressed about your work. A case study here, a client of mine left school at a young age, was working as a barman, very good worker, very capable lad, but he wanted to change, he wanted to do something in computers. So he did off his own bat, he did a diploma in computer studies, did very well in it, and actually began to wonder, could he possibly change his career? Could he possibly work in IT? So he had a few coaching sessions and he decided upon a plan. We shifted some negative beliefs, he set some goals himself, and then I helped him devise a plan. He did another course because he didn't have the required standard of maths, because to do a Bachelor of Science in Trinity College, which he'd set his sights on, he would have needed to have had honours maths. Now, he didn't have that, so he needed to upskill in his mathematical skills, which he did. So I'm delighted to say that Nikki is starting in Trinity in September, and well done, Nikki. It's all down to you. I was only a guide, a coach, enabling you to do it. So well done. So as we've just outlined, you need self-knowledge, you need to understand what you actually want to do, what your beliefs are, shift any self-limiting ones, you need to have a strategic plan, you need to keep a positive mindset, and a coach can help you do that, and you never forget why you're doing it. That is a very logical, tactical and strategic plan for a lot of things in life, not just changing career or changing lifestyle. You may want to start your own business. Now this could be for a whole variety of reasons. You might just fancy being your own boss, you might want to make more money, you might be passionate about something you feel could benefit other people, you might just be fed up seeing senior management in your current employment taking bad decisions and you know you can do it better. So there's lots of reasons. The other thing I will say about starting your own business, aside from having the good idea and maybe the skills or the wherewithal to start the business within yourself, if you don't have a financial background, you really will need to hire someone, because you could be overtrading, you could be non-compliant regarding your tax, your accounts, company law. There could be a lot of reasons that the company could fail or your own business could fail, even if you're making the sales. So you need to be well aware of that, because a lot of people don't seem to take that on board. They're so caught up in the, excitement of running your own business. So I'm reiterating that point there. You could have a great business, it could be successfully selling, but it could fail. You could be overtrading, or you could be doing any of the other things I've just mentioned. So get yourself a good team, but also get yourself a good accountant. If you get it right, you'll have huge personal fulfillment and satisfaction and freedom, optimism, excitement, a buzz. If you're successful, obviously your family are going to benefit, you're going to benefit, you'll have more money, a better lifestyle. You'll have stepped out of your comfort zone and you will deserve to pat yourself on the back. Another case study, a client of mine within a safe, secure position was offered a contract, which is very good, because you don't normally get offered all of these contracts. You normally have to go out and get them. We did a parts integration technique, because after a long session, it was clear that my client wanted to do this. He wanted to go for this goal of accepting this contract, but he had a self-limiting belief that he couldn't do it because he'd never run a business properly before. He worked on his own as a sole trader, but this was a bigger project. This was involving quite expensive machinery, employing others, and a big long-term project. So we did a technique called a parts integration technique. It's an LMP technique, and it is essentially you are reconciling the two parts in your brain. One part is the subconscious, which is trying to protect you. It's saying, stay where you are, you're grand, you don't need to take this hassle on, you're secure. Basically, why would you be doing it? And you can't do it, maybe, you'll fail. Fear of failure is one of the main reasons people don't do things. The other side is the conscious side, logically saying, well, you got offered the contract, people know you can do the work, you could make a better fist of it if you had more control, you can make more money, you'll have more, your lifestyle will be different, you can call the shots when you want to take your holidays. Now, it's not that you're going to be working less hard, that is not the case, but the whole thing is the two parts of your brain needs to actually come together to be reconciled before you can then be happy to take that big leap and to devise your strategic program and the positive mindset and go for it. So the client was my husband. He responded well to the coaching. He did take that leap of faith, and they're doing very well, and he never forgets why he did it, and he did have a strategic and tactical plan in conjunction with myself as a business coach. So we incorporated the company, we registered for all the various taxes, everything's been done as has to be done in order to, I suppose, run the boring side of the business, as people would like to call it. Anyway, Dan has done it, so fair play to Dan and to Zach and to all the others that are in the team. And it's just an example, though. You can apply this process, this self-knowledge, shifting self-beliefs, self-limiting beliefs, a practical and strategic plan, leap of faith with a positive mindset, and never forgetting why. So that you'll see this theme coming through time and time again in the different scenarios, the lifestyle change, the career change, starting your own business. But I will add the caveat, starting your own business, you will definitely need to have good, maybe financial accounting and business coaching behind you. Scenario, a project, a challenging project, such as writing a book. Now, every second person wants to write a book, and we all can get very bored when we hear people repeating this mantra and not doing anything about it. So, sit down again, examine, really, do you want to write a book, or is it just something you keep saying, just to annoy people? So, then look at your self-limiting beliefs, and again, it would be an amazing achievement if you did write a book. You'd be leaving something for posterity, either a beautiful hardback copy, or it could be on the internet, your great-great-grandchildren could come across it. So you need to go through the whole process as well in this writing a book. Now, I used a coach, Susan Yates, in the UK, who has written books, and the whole journey has been fascinating. And that was initially why I did the survey on LinkedIn and Facebook, because I knew I wanted to write about helping particularly women who are stressed out in the work environment, also being stressed out by family, children, aging parents, and society's expectation. You're damned sometimes if you do, and you're damned if you don't. If you don't stay all the long hours, you're getting frowned upon by some of the, well, dare I say it, I don't want to sound sexist, but some of the people who have the wives to do all the stuff that you have to do when you go home. Now, it applies to men as well. I mean, men have demands of family and aging parents, etc. But in my experience, I think it's the women who get the brunt of it. So the book is called Women, Work and Wellness, and I've tried to give a practical, up-to-date guide to help women. And that survey I did was part of the, I suppose, the fact-finding mission to see what areas women needed help in. So if you don't do the book, you may always be disappointed. And again, don't leave it till you're on your deathbed thinking, damn, I wish I'd done that. And it doesn't have to be a book, say, the way I'm writing a book. You could write a book about your life or about somebody else's life, or fiction. There's a whole myriad of the subjects you could use. J.K. Rowling, everybody is familiar with her story. She ended up back from Portugal. She was broke, she was homeless, she had no job, she had a young child. Marriage was in tatters. She didn't know what to do. She sat down, had a good think. She knew she wanted to write, so she just went for it. And as she so eloquently said, she was at rock bottom and she built solid foundations. So you know the story of Harry Potter, the series of books, the films, So, I mean, she's a prime example of setting down to do something, keeping a positive mindset. I can't remember how many publishers rejected her book, but I think it was 90 odd, I think. So she persevered, she kept positive, and she certainly achieved her objective. So, the 5-step process: self-knowledge. Do you want to write the book, or do you want to do this other project? Understand your beliefs, why you want to do it. Shift any self-limiting beliefs. Use a coach if necessary. Have a practical and strategic plan. Keep the necessary positive mindset. Use a coach if you wobble, because you will wobble. In the case of a book, you will definitely need to be writing every week. It's a good idea to do some sort of a survey just to make sure you're on the right track. There's no point writing a book nobody wants to read. By the same token, I don't expect my book to be a Harry Potter, but I want it to be relevant. So, you know, it's up to you what topic you pick, but doing a survey is a very good way of maybe eliminating something that maybe when you sit down and think about it, you don't really want to do it. Keep your positive mindset, because if you want to write every week, you can't just say, oh no, I don't feel like it. You have to have a certain amount of self-discipline. And never forget why you're doing the book. In my case, I hope it's going to help people, because when I did all of this life coaching, NLP, QTT, etc., and the personal development course, I realised I could help other people who were in the same situation I had been in. The final scenario is energising employees. HR departments will know all about this. They quite often spend most of their time on this never-ending circle of just recruiting because people are leaving, staff are getting disillusioned. So it's not really what they joined HR for. It's part of it. But I'm sure they would like to be freed from being tied up just constantly recruiting. They want to do the other stuff like developing the employees, developing the managers, developing the business, all that good stuff, rather than just this base one stuff, slotting in new employees as the older ones leave. Now, the other side to this is, as more experienced employees leave, it's not just the cost to the company of replacing them, but there's also all the experience that's been lost, and also the negative impact on the other members of the team. They now have to plug those gaps until the other person is trained up. And, you know, it can be very, very stressful. And you can walk into a company and within a few minutes you know whether the workforce are energised. And there is the energy, the level that they're vibrating at, does impact on the other people. So I'm saying that this is an area that's been very neglected. You can have corporate wellness seminars for your employees. 37% were, as I mentioned in the very first scenario, were very dissatisfied with, or slightly or very dissatisfied with their work-life balance. Now, good management obviously can lessen this situation, because you shouldn't be working constant overtime. And you all know who I'm talking to. I've worked in several companies where it was almost frowned upon if you didn't do this constant overtime. And I have to say that is the greatest load of nonsense. You will not function properly if you're constantly working overtime. So some of you people out there, you managers that think that it's de rigueur to be doing this, it's not, it's silly. And it's bad for your employees' happiness, for their family life, for their personal life, for their mental and physical well-being. And there is a reason why people die of heart attacks at work. So don't you be in that category. And HR departments, you don't want that situation either. So think about wellness seminars. The tools, tips and techniques of NLP and QTT and life coaching can be applied in a corporate situation as well. Because I found in my survey practical ways of helping people. They needed tips of how to deal with stress, overwhelm, better time management, not the usual tosh that you read. You know, some of the stuff that's out there it's criminal. So what I've tried to do in my book, I've tried to pull together the most effective and, in my view, logical and practical tips for these situations. So overwhelm, I don't think, is actually dealt with in many companies. Time management is, and to a greater or lesser degree, sometimes not well at all. I'm just saying there that there is a huge amount of, and holistic therapies that can also be applied to a corporate situation to make the workforce happier, less stress, more empowered and more productive. There is another technique, well, it's not a technique really, but a corporate women's network is invaluable. I was involved in setting one up in Alcoa, and I was involved with the one in GE, but not to the same extent as in Alcoa. Mentoring the senior women, mentoring the junior women is brilliant, has great results, and the networks also allow for a safe, secure environment in which the younger women can hone their skills and their tactics, rather than, I suppose, launching into giving a presentation to the board when they may not have had enough practice, because maybe they've been holding themselves back, maybe they have limiting self-beliefs, which is quite common with women in the corporate environment. So there's a huge amount that can be brought to energise your workforce. Now, this process applies to the workforce, it applies to the HR department. It also applies to the whole process of setting personal development plans and personal goals for employees. And quite often it's just a tick box exercise. If it's done properly, if the managers are mentored and coached, because a lot of managers don't understand it, and we all know that people leave bad managers, they don't leave jobs. So if the manager doesn't know how to manage or how to encourage and coach the staff and develop them, that's what the development plans are for. It's not just to get people to do as much work as possible for them to feel used. It's there to make them realise they can progress in the career, and that maybe aligning their own personal goals, which will have a synergistic effect then if that's aligned with corporate goal. So it's to be a meaningful, effective corporate individual development plan, not just a tick box exercise. So that individual development plan can tie into the whole corporate goals, to the department goals, to the manager's goals, and be a means to actually obtain promotion and grow within the company. And if you are doing all of those things, you won't be so inclined to head out the door and just pack it all in. You'll feel valued. So HR departments and managers, never forget why you're doing this process of goal setting and individual development plans. So I hope you have had some benefit from the webinar, changing your lifestyle, your career, starting up your own business, writing your book, or re-energising and motivating demotivated and disillusioned staff. So I've gone through those 5 scenarios and I've given you the 5 steps. And I'm hoping that you will get some benefit out of this, even if it's only to change your lifestyle. I'm not trying to get everybody to change their career or to write a book or to start up their own business. I would actually say I am trying to get HR departments to motivate their staff and make them happier and more productive and less stressed. Now, this is a pictorial representation of me. On the left is when I was in corporate and I wanted so much to do something productive and creative with outside our house. As you could see, it was all weeds. So the week after I left the corporate world, and it was a bank holiday Monday, when I was actually doing the work on the right with my husband and my son, and it was the first bank holiday Monday that year I wasn't working. So this was very, very symbolic for me. Anyway, we planted rhododendrons and they are absolutely beautiful. They flourished this year and they flourished last year. So you can either stay stuck, as was me on the left-hand side, or you can grow and flourish, as I have done, and so have the rhododendrons on the right-hand side. So, 5 steps: self-knowledge, understanding your beliefs, getting clarity on your beliefs, shifting self-limiting beliefs, having a practical and strategic plan, keeping and maintaining a positive mindset, keep on your plan, and never forget why you're doing it. Now, finally, if you need an additional space away from all the stresses of your life, your family, your work, etc., etc., I'm running a 5-day holistic retreat in Tenerife. This involves coaching before and after the 5 days, and it is not just about coaching when you're there. There are holistic therapies in the afternoon, there's massage, there's Reiki, there's reflexology, there's any number of things. There's also beautiful visits to places on the island that I know in the evenings for meals, and it's basically to chill as well as to get into that space where you can sort your thoughts out, maybe start that strategic plan and decide what it is you want to do that you've been putting off or haven't been dared to dream about. So those are some of the pictures, and it's a sanctuary. So it'll nourish your mind, your spirit and your soul, as well as resting your body and maybe giving you clarity on what you want to do. So if you want help in any of those areas, changing lifestyle, career, setting up your business, writing your book, HR departments, if you want me to do wellness seminars, contact me and get a 30-minute free discovery call on my website. So that's www.marymacrory.com. So thank you all very much indeed, and I hope you benefited from this webinar. Goodbye.